DJI Mavic 4 Pro, huge update. Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Ron Brown. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest about the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, including new pictures, specifications, release date, pricing, and so much more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We got a lot to cover here on the Mavic 4 Pro, and I mean there is a lot to cover here. So let me go ahead and bring the first article up here.
We got more information about the Mavic 4 than we do the Pittsburgh Steelers draft picks.
Yeah, we really do. Okay, now here's the first one. Here's the Mavic 4 Pro might not require an SD card. Jasper Allen's leaked Mavic 4 Pro specs stated the drone would feature 512 gigabytes of internal storage. While there are some 1 terabyte micro SD cards out there, most 512 and 256 gigabyte cards are the standard for many pilots. So if you'll get the bulk of that internally, is there any reason you would need to bring your own with you? There's probably some valid reasons. First, you wouldn't get the full space on the internal drive like you would on an SD card, as the internal drive will also be used for firmware updates. Second, quickly swapping a full SD card for a fresh one will be a faster way than transferring the contents of the internal drive to an external one. However, if you're like me, I will admit, someone who tends to forget SD cards for a session, then having that in extra internal space will be a lifesaver. Okay. So, 512 is the Air 3S came with a much more modest 42 gig of internal space, small, but still usable if you're not shooting a massive project that day. As far as that's concerned, Ron, I think it's a good thing, but I think if for most drone pilots like you, like myself, I'm always going to opt to have an SD card in there. Things can happen with internal storage. Something can happen with that. And that by having that SD card there, you have a default and you have it in there. And I think too, you probably don't want to put anything more than a 256 in there, especially because of the read-write speeds, and also then what you'd be able to store on there and be able to get that off the card. Even if you're taking the card out and put it in a card reader and dropping it in your PC, it's still going to take some time to do that. The more storage that you have on there. So, there's pluses and minuses, pros and cons with that. I don't know what most people think, but for me,
Bill, I guess if you're going to shoot 6K video with this thing, that's going to take up a lot of space, really quick. Lawrence said, would be surprised if the Mavic 4 has no SD card. Well, here's what we know from the rumors, Bill, if the rumors are true. The base Mavic 4 Pro will only have 64 gig of internal storage, but if you get the model that comes in the Flywire combo with the RC2 Pro controller or whatever and all that version will have a 512 of internal memory. So if you buy the base model with 64, you're probably definitely going to want an SD card, even if you going to try to record in 64. But with the 512, you really use it. The only reason you need the SD card is just kind of a backup or safety or whatever.
Now that makes sense.
Because if you fill up 512 space, it's time to get that stuff offloaded to a computer, Bill.
Exactly. And because you don't want to be flying up there and accumulating all this video, and then say, God forbid, you have a crash or something and lose the drone and you've lost all that video that you've shot. You don't want to do
how many shoots or whatever. So
right. I mean, you don't want to do something like that.
Whenever you fly home, offload that video when you come home. Don't treat this drone as your external hard drive.
Exactly. That's a fantastic point. Now, DJI Mavic 4 Pro leak specs are revealed. Okay. And here we go. This is what Jasper Allens has said. Hasselblad wide camera, next gen 4/3 CMOS, 100 megapixel effective pixels, up to 6K, 60 HDR, 4K 120. Medium telecamera, 70 millimeters, 1/1/3 inch CMOS, 48 megapixel, effective pixels up to 4K 60 HDR, 4K 120. Telecamera, 168 millimeters, 1/1.5 inch CMOS, 50 megapixel, effective pixels up to 4K 60 HDR, 4K 120.
No, there won't be any shortage of pixels.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Obstacle sensing, omnidirectional in 0.1 lux night, up, down, left, right, backwards, equipped with forward-facing LiDAR. Special features, infinity gimbal, 360-degree rotating payload. Maximum takeoff altitude, 6,000 meters, which is 19,685 feet. Maximum wind resistance, 12 meters a second. Maximum speed, sport, 25 meters a second. Normal, 18 meters a second. Flight time, 51 minutes. Maximum transmission range, FCC, 30 kilometers. CESRRC, MI, 15 kilometers. Weight, 1,063 grams. Onboard storage, 512 gigabytes here. Camera codecs, Apple ProRes. So far, there's no been concrete evidence of the Mavic 4 Cine variant of the drone is coming. And there's an article, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. To add the speculation, CEDLEV states there will be no Mavic 4 Cine. Okay, the leaker goes further to say Apple ProRes, a main selling point for the Mavic 3 Cine, will not be coming to Mavic 4 Pro. In its place, CEDLEV states the drone will feature something similar to Sony's XAVC1 high-profile 4.2.2 codec. Just like previous DJI drones, we expect the Mavic 4 Pro to still shoot in less intensive D-Log and other video formats that will allow for minor color correction. However, if you're a ProRes workflow studio, you might want to keep your Mavic 3 Cine as the only drone upgrade with Apple ProRes being available would be the Inspire 3. Okay, so that's for specs. We're going to move on here because we, like I said, we got quite a bit here to go through. Now we also have a first look at the Flymore combo and what it actually looks like. So let's go ahead and display that right here. Mavic 4 Pro's Flymore combo will have a similar design bag from its predecessor. And you can see right here, here's everything. That's the RC Pro 2, the 3 batteries, the gimbal, and it has that, I call it, for lack of a better term, the Hannibal Lecter gimbal. The props right here. There's the charging brick right here. Not quite sure what that is right there. There's the cable for it. I think that's probably for the hub.
We think that connects the power brick to the hub.
That's you're probably right. You're probably right with that, Ron. Charging case is expected to be able to charge 3 flight intelligent batteries simultaneously. Charging hubs have been common for DJI drones for a while, but the Air 3 was the first of the consumer side drones to feature a hub that could charge all the batteries at the same time. I disagree with that. It doesn't do that.
I was going to say, yeah, somebody didn't do their homework there.
Yeah, whoever wrote the article here is wrong. Its hub also allows you to consolidate any charge from the remaining batteries into one, allowing for more potential flight. I expect the Mavic 4 Pro's hub to have a similar feature. Now, that's going to have
the Air 3 and 3S did do that.
Right. The controller pictured in Igor's post is a newly designed RC Pro 2 with a pop-up display that screams throwbacks to Phantom controller days. This new controller should be a killer product to try out. A rumored accessory that isn't included in the Mavic 4 Pro's Primo combo is the ND filter set. This is usually not included with past drones. However, it might be something you might want. DJI is rumored to be making its first electronic ND filter will allow you to change ND levels mid-flight, a potential game changer in savings here. Finally come to the carrying bag. Okay, they're talking about that. Now I want to move on to something else here because, again, like I said, we got a lot to go over here. Now, drone.
Can I stop you in the chat?
Sure
Dover Drone Photography is asking, has a possible release date been announced? Yeah, Jasper all but confirmed May 13th for the release of the Mavic 4 Pro.
Yes, thank you for that.
And also, he said the teaser will be out on May 6th.
Okay. Now here, and again, this was Jasper's article out on Drone XL, canceled features on the Mavic 4. And this is to confirm what CEDLEV said. There'll be no Cine version of the Mavic 4 Pro, no ProRes, and we just talked about that. The image sensors aren't physically bigger than the previous DJI Mavic 3. With the only 28 millimeter Hasselblad camera, 70 millimeter medium telecamera, and 168 millimeter telecamera sensor. I was disappointed to hear that DJI RC Track will not return with a Mavic 4, but the tracking function will be available on the DJI RC Pro 2 by using the new scroll wheel beneath the screen. No electronic ND filters available at launch date. They are in the web shops, but are not seeing the combo of testers and dealers. They are on the workshop list, though they will probably be available later in May here, okay? And you can see right here, these are the Mavic 4 Pro 512 gigabyte creator combo will come with a new RC Pro 2. The 7-inch mini LED screen delivers stunning visuals and effortlessly switches the drone's gimbal to portrait mode with a simple rotation. You can see here the antennas point down, which is not natural, and you extend the arm up to move the screen up off the controller itself here. Vertical screen for vertical videos. A good source of mine sent me this picture of the RC Pro 2 with quick start manual, again confirming that what we just saw up there. The remote will automatically turn on when you extend the arm of the screen.
And Bill, that's similar to the Pocket 3. When you want to shoot vertical video in the Pocket 3, you just turn the screen and it shoots vertical video.
Yeah, exactly. Good point, Ron. Good source of mine sent me this picture of the RC Pro 2. Okay, a fun gimmick will be all right. All right, release imminent. Box is already spotted, and you can see right here. This is a box of the Mavic 4 Pro. This is a box of the RC Pro 2. Obviously, not part of a bundle, separate.
It's good to see it sold separate. It's outside, just buying the bundle.
And I think even if this is bundled, Ron, I don't think DJI has a bigger box for it. I think what they do is, inside the brown box where you get everything. I think this is you'll get the box with the RC Pro too. I think that's how that's going to come here. European pricing yesterday, Mavic 4 Pro at looks like 2189 euros. And then Mavic 4 Fly More combo at 2899 euros. And the Mavic 4 Creator combo 512 gig at 3849 euros. And that was that article. We're going to move on to another one here. Like I said, there's a lot here tonight here. Now this was a good. I like this comparison chart that was done on Drone XL, and what they did was they compared the Mavic 4 Pro with the Air 3S and the Mini 4 Pros. Image quality, obstacle sensing, special features, maximum takeoff altitude, wind resistance, everything that we read so far that we saw here. Now we've gone over that. This is a comparison to the Air 3S and the Mini 4 Pro, which I think is good because I think it kind of puts it in line here. And you can see obviously some things really kind of stand out. Like, for example, the flight time stands out here. The weight obviously is different. The wind resistance, maximum takeoff altitude. A lot of these things are very similar here. Specification list, and it lists, and again, we've already gone over this. And these are out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group, so you guys can go ahead and take a look at that. Here's another look at the creator combo right here, which I think this is kind of a better look, and you get a better feel for these things with the 3 batteries, props, the 240-watt charging brick, the gimbal here, the RC.
And Bill, there's also a similar picture with the RC2 in place of the Pro controller in the picture.
Exactly. Now they talk about the Infinity gimbal here, and here's a picture for the omnidirectional obstacle sensing, probably the LiDAR, as far as they're talking about that. And again,
basically, this drone is going to take obstacle avoidance even to a level beyond what the Air 3S has.
Oh yeah, it's and that's gonna make this pretty much. It's pretty much, unless you shut those sensors off, it's pretty much going to be foolproof in terms of avoiding an accident. Really,
well, unless you get around a thin wire or a
thin wire,
a bare twig on a tree or something.
Yeah, those would probably be about the only instances where that would happen here. Release date finally confirmed, Tuesday, May 13th. Expected teaser is expected on May the 6th, as Ron had already said. Thank you for reading his articles. Okay, there's some more. Got some more here. Now, Igor posted some pictures out on Twitter, and I want to go ahead and go over those here. Okay. The beauty of technology and the 4 images of the Mavic 4 Pro. Okay, now you can see right here. Now, this was interesting, Ron. This was the first time we had seen anything with the ND filters.
Well, that's the old school ND filters. That's not the electronic.
Exactly, which I thought was very interesting. That's the first we've heard or seen of this, which I came across when I came across this today.
And yeah, we just heard about them. Now they're already in the Flymore combo.
Exactly.
Now
Now
there's your what do you call your cellular chip thingamajig?
Right, that's a cellular chip that's in the Mavic 4
But
Pro.
that's not even. Is that even a thing in the U.S. yet?
No,
is that even approved? No. Okay,
that's only that'll be only over in Europe, in Europe and the UK. And let's look at the next. There's a close up look of the charging hub, the 240-watt charger. Yeah, this is good seeing.
The battery seemed like a similar design to the Air 3S battery.
Yeah, you're right, Ron.
Top curves and everything.
You're right. That does look a lot like the Air 3S. And then we have the RC Pro 2 controller. Now, there's another set of pictures that Igor had.
We're close when the pictures are this good now, Bill. These are like perfect photos.
Yeah. Okay, now Igor gave us some more pictures of the RC Pro 2 here, and I want to get these up. No, there it is.
Controller.
And that, it's just
antenna going down as we talked about.
Antenna's going down. That's so not natural. And there it is folded. There it is folded from the front right there.
You know what, Bill? The only thing they haven't mentioned is they talk about bright screen, but nobody said how many nits yet on that screen. We currently have 1,000 on the RC Pro 1.
Yeah, that's real. I would have to think that it's going to have to have been improved, but we're not sure here. Now, this was remember, I brought up that what was on Drone XL. This was done on Drone DJ, which is a little better in terms of being able to actually read this here. As far as, the comparison is concerned, looking at the main camera, the telecamera, and really, a couple of these only really apply to the Mavic 3 Pro and Mavic 4 Pro, the obstacle sensing, the special features.
Hey, Bill, can I stop you for a second? Here's something odd. Go back to medium telecamera. On the Mavic 4 Pro, they say up to 4K 100, but you go to the Air 3S, which has up to 4K 120. How can the new Mavic 4 Pro not have the same 120 frame rate as the new Mavic 4 Pro?
Agree 100%, Ron. Agree 100%.
I mean, that could be a typo or a mistake, by the
I would have to think so, because I mean, it's the same telecamera here. It's exactly the same. So
why would they slow it down for the Mavic 4 Pro?
I don't know. That does not make any sense, and that's a good point. I agree with you. I think that's a typo. I think that that's just not right as far as that's concerned.
They don't mention it in this thing here, but if you look at the top main camera, the Mavic 4 Pro is supposed to have a 28 millimeter lens on it, so it's going to not be as wide as the older Mavic 3 or the Air 3S. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it's just it just struck me that it's not going to be as wide as those other two.
Right. Now, what's interesting here with the rest of the specs right here, and you can see right here, the transmission system is OcuSync 4 Plus. It's OcuSync 3 Plus for the Mavic 3 Pro, OcuSync 4 and OcuSync 4.
Well, the Mavics always get the Plus.
Right, they always get the Plus.
They're always playing catch up because the Mini and the Air get the new system first, so they're already at the next level before the Mavic catches up and puts the Plus on.
Now, one of the things I think is really going to be, I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on this, the new Infinity Gimbal, 360-degree rotating payload.
Yeah.
That's going to open up a wide range of possibilities for being able to use the Mavic 4 Pro, Ron.
Yeah.
It really just, as far as, making just some incredible shots and making it so you could be flying straight and normal, rotate that camera around, and it looks like you're upside down.
Yeah, they call that the flip.
The flip, yeah, you can do that. I mean, the realm of possibilities with this is endless what you can do with this.
This will be
And
the best gimbal we've ever seen on a consumer camera drone.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's really, for all intents and purposes, this is really going to be a prosumer drone. Okay, it really is. It's dipping its toes very heavily into the professional realm of
Yeah, I
things.
don't think any of their pro cameras have this type of gimbal, Bill.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think the Inspire 3 does.
But Bill, real quick, the only disappointment is all the camera specs we saw. Now specs are just specs, but it doesn't look like the set. Nothing looks better about I mean, not nothing. Very little looks different about the camera from the Mavic 3 Pro to the Mavic 4 or whatever. I mean, there's a couple
Right.
little things in there, like a little bit of a sensor size gain on that big tele camera. The real zoom camera looks like it's a little bit better, but the main camera, it's the same sensor size, and the medium tele is the same sensor size. So I think Igor, somebody put the article on, don't expect a dramatic improvement in the video quality.
I agree, because
So you're
again,
paying all this money and you're really not seeing a big. I mean, okay, first, from when we flew the Mavic 2 Pro, we had a 1-inch sensor. And when
right.
we got, and of course, the Mavic Pro, the first one, we had, I don't know, like a 1/1/3 sensor, something like that. And then we got bumped up to a micro four thirds where we got the Mavic 3. But now we're going to go to the Mavic 3, the Mavic 4, with basically the same set, but not basically the same sensor size.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's why I said, I may have been last week or the week before, a lot of people are going to keep their Mavic who I know are going to get a Mavic 4. They're going to keep their Mavic 3s and their Mavic 3 Pros, because it's just still such a good drone. I mean, it's just, you have so much capability with that, and so much that you can do with that. And, for me, I'm very seriously considering keeping it because of that, because there's just still so much you can do with that. And I think you're right. I think you'll see only incremental improvements between the main camera from the Mavic 3 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro. Okay. Where the Mavic 4 Pro is going to be standing out. And I think it's probably its signature feature is going to be that rotating gimbal 360 payload. That's going to really set this drone apart from all other drones. And
all
that's
little
why,
things like the extended battery life and things like that. It's a whole lot of things on the non-camera side that are nice upgrades. But on the camera side itself, it feels more like a like another Air 3 Pro S than it does the Mavic 4 on the camera side.
Exactly. Okay. And I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head, Ron. What we're seeing here, and I had some comments this week about, well, I'm not going to get a Mavic 4 Pro because it's the price. When I'm seeing, the non-tariff price, it's still a little on the high. It's still on the high side.
Look what Dr. B said in the chat. That's the most recent comment. He said, if I'm going to spend that much cash, I need to be convinced it's a game changer. Not convinced yet. And I mean, I don't want to put my foot in the mouth, because that thing when the thing comes out on the 13th, we could watch the review videos and the video could be twice as good as the Mavic 3 Pro. I mean, you won't really know until specs are specs.
Right.
You really don't know until you actually see what's the proof's in the pudding, right, Bill? Or,
Exactly. Until we see Billy or Ken or Rick or whoever, Aldrin put out their videos and take a look at them and look at the image quality and compare. One of the things I really like when one of the previous drones came out, Aldrin did a great comparison video between that and some other ones, and they were side by side, and you really got a good flavor and feel for how the video was from that. And I think, that's one of the things I really like seeing, is that comparison. A lot of the other guys are they're doing great videos, but I really like that comparison, between, let's say, like the so like a Mavic 4 Pro and comparing it to a Mavic 3 Pro, and then maybe even comparing it to an Air 3S, looking at all three and looking at what you're getting for that, and going in the same, obviously, filming it at the same location at the same time, that makes a world of difference, and you can really be able to judge for something like that. And I think, as far as going back to the whole pricing thing and everything, like kind of like what Dr. Ted was talking about here, and I've gotten some comments on, you're paying for these incredible improvements these non-camera improvements as well too. The LiDAR, the battery, okay. You know,
and really you're not paying much more than you did for the say the Mavic 3 when it came out. Really, you're paying even the packages. I mean, that one with the controller is going to cost you more because the controller is better. But if you're buying the base package, you're not really paying much more than you did for the Mavic 3.
right. And then, you know, realize too that part of this is going to include a brand new controller, an upgrade, which I had said, and I had predicted probably well over a year ago that DJI was going to upgrade the RC Pro. And now we have the RC Pro 2 is coming out, and we've seen, and it looks to be an incredible upgrade. And I think, again, like Ron said, the proof is in the pudding. We don't know until we get a product in our hands. Well, first of all, we don't know until we go out and we watch some of the videos that will come out on release day. All right. And then we really don't know until we get the drone in our hands and then, you know, do the firmware updates, get it ready to go, get it up in the air and shoot some video. We won't really know until we do that and take a look at that. And I think, you know, until then, I usually kind of want to hold back and reserve judgment because you really can't, you know, we can look at all these specs all day long and say, yeah, this is going to be a perfect drone. But until we get it up there, until we compare it, say, you know, one of the things that I want to do is I'm going to keep my Mavic 3 Pro long enough at least to go ahead and do a comparison video shooting at the same time, same day, Mavic 3 Pro, Mavic 4 Pro, taking a look, you know, the same thing, not getting stupid or fancy or anything, straight on video, going there, coming back, taking a look at it, looking at the colors, looking at the image, you know, pixelation, everything, you know, taking all that into account. You know, that's the kind of that to me that justifies, you know, this drone when I'm able to go and I do something like that, Ron.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, most times you don't know for sure until you actually have it in your own hands. You look at the video on your own computer that you shot or whatever, because you know, a lot of the reviewers, and I don't say this a bad way or not, you know, maybe they're adding the video a little bit. They're trying to make it look as good as they can, you know, where you're looking at your raw video.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and I'm going to throw this in here. And this is the only thing I'm going to say about this as far as the whole tariff business is concerned. We don't know a thing until it happens. So, you know, May 13th is coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll see. We'll see how all this plays out. And I can tell you this is just me. And this isn't a political statement, so don't go running away from, you know, Bill's saying Democrat, Republican, whatever. No, here's what Bill's saying right here. Okay, there's a lot of money on the table to be had here. Okay, and you know with this and the powers that be, I think we're going to be able to get these without paying tariffs. This is just me, my personal opinion, because there's a lot of money exchanging hands here, and I think, you know, when push comes to shove, I think we'll be able to get these without these huge tariffs. I really do. That's just me. And this is not Republican or Democrat. Okay. This is just me, my opinion. And I base this on, there's a lot of money out there and DJI wants to get these sales. Stuff will happen. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 whether, you know, you get it without tariffs, with tariffs. Look at Jim. Go back to Jim Anderson's comment, like about 5 comments back from the one you're on now. Jim says, or this is the last drone that we'll be able to buy due to the bans. Well, Jim, we may not even get this one.
Yeah.
Don't count this being the last drone you buy before bans. You may not get this one. And again, but if you do get this one, why would they start something in the middle of the summer? But if you get this one, why won't the Mini 5 Pro come through?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you know, and
put it this way, it seems to pay okay for a long time, Bill. The last couple of releases, people had no problems getting it. I don't mean there may be some people's favorite, but the junk drones, the little Neo got through, the little Flip got through. Whoever's trying to stop DJI, they don't really care about the bottom of the market. I don't think they really care about the mini drones and the $299 drones. They're worried about competing with DJI's higher end drones like the Mavic series. So if they're going to make a point of stopping something, it's going to be the Mavic 4 Pro. That's the one they're going to stop because they don't seem to be worried about the cheaper drones, the mini drones.
Exactly. And
And I see that as if you're a business model, you want to, if you're going to be an American drone company star, you want to go right after the cream of the crop, Bill. You want to go, the people paying $2,000 for drones. You don't really want to come at the bottom of the market and try to get down there. What do you call it? What's the old saying or whatever? The low bottom or whatever the market. They don't really want to dominate $299 market. They want to dominate the $2,000 and up market.
Exactly.
They don't want the fat middle. That's the term.
Exactly.
In retail, we used to always call it the fat middle. The fat middle of the market.
And I got an email from one of my followers here, an actual email, and said that because he has a business, he will go ahead even with a steep tariff and buy this, okay, because it's something he can write it off. I mean, obviously,
if you're a professional, you know how many jobs it's going to take to pay for it. Like, depending on what you charge, maybe 5 jobs pays it off.
Exactly. And that's what he said. He said he does enough of a business and he has enough drones that he can, obviously, he can gauge how much it's going to take to pay the drone off. And also too, as far as when income taxes come around, it's something he can deduct. So it's a legitimate business expense. So,
look at Lauren's comment. He suspects the tariffs will kill the price for the U.S. customers on this drone.
Yeah, if it comes to fruition, Lauren, you're probably right. Nobody will be able to afford it. And
somebody had the math last night on Drone Nation. It's like somebody said it was 2. It's not 3, but it's 2.7. Somebody else had it. It was lower. It's 2 point something that's going to be over the price. So say the base price is $21.99. Well, you would be paying, not triple that, but more than double.
Yeah. And again, with all
basically,
this,
you'd be paying $5,000 for the base kit.
Yeah.
If the tariff did actually go into effect on it.
If the tariffs go through. Yeah. And I don't think, I think a lot of us who maybe either were on the fence or we're going to buy it without tariffs won't. Okay. And they'll take a step back. All right. And that may be a wise thing to do. If the tariffs are in place, okay, I can tell you this, there's going to be a lot of pressure to rectify this and get this corrected because, it's really causing a lot of concern regarding the economy. And again, this isn't political. I'm not saying anything about this. What I'm saying is it's causing a big upheaval and, people want to be able to afford things. Okay. And one of the things, is all of us here, we watch our drone shows here. We watch Drone Nation. We watch Rotor Talk. We watch Ray and Johnny's show. We watch Art's show, and everybody else's and Bill Thomas. We watch these shows because we like drones. It's our hobby. It's something that we enjoy. Okay. And, some of us are professionals and do it professionally. But a majority of us, do this because this is a hobby. This is something fun. And,
right.
It's so incredible to be able to do this. All right. And also too, like I said, there's a lot of money exchanging hands here. All right. And I think the powers that be are going to get together and they're going to get this corrected and rectified. I know already from what I've read, and again, this is what I've read, and it's not political. A number of nations have already said they're going to do reciprocal tariffs. In other words, they're going to bring their tariffs down to a reasonable level. And I think that's what the end game is with China, to do that with them as well, too, to get it on a level playing field. That's just a guess, and it's not political. I'm just stating what's going on out there.
Lauren guesses with tariffs, he suspects we'll be paying close to $7,000 for the base Mavic 4 Pro.
We could. I mean, we really, again, this is all an unknown. And one of the things I can say is this, okay, if they're in effect, step back and wait, okay, because May 13th comes and goes. You know what? You don't need that drone that day. You don't need it 3 days later. Okay.
Yeah. What if they solved the whole tariff problem on the 14th and you just paid $7,000 instead of $21.99?
Yeah. And Ron brings up a great point here. So, my whole advice, and I think Ron would probably agree, if it is in place, exhale, wait. sit back,
unless you
take a
got
look at it.
money burning a hole in your pocket
Right.
or whatever.
Unless you are a business owner and can afford something like that at that
Or
price.
maybe you hit a lottery or something.
Yeah, maybe you hit the scratch off at the supermarket. Don't know. Okay. But my advice, and I think Ron would probably agree with this, if tariffs are in place, sit back and wait. Just
Johnny
sit back.
said not one person here needs a $7,000 drone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And Casey Crime Fighter says 7,000 for a drone. I may be out. Yeah, I'm out with you, Casey.
Oh yeah, I am too. That's ludicrous. Okay. That's like a down payment on a car. Okay.
Yeah, give me can I get a second mortgage on that drone, Bill?
Yeah, really. I mean, you can get it through Rocket Mortgage or something like this. Is that who's going to be financing the drones instead of a firm? I mean, or PayPal. I mean, people aren't going to do that. Okay. And again, I think cooler heads are going to prevail about all this stuff about the tariffs. So, like I said, sit back, wait for what goes on. Okay. Still be excited about it, but just, kind of like pull back, pull the reins back, watch what's going on, keep your head in the news, find out what's going on. And then when it comes May 13th, when we have our release show on Drone Nation, which I'm going to assume that we will, and I'll be there. Okay. We'll know what's going on. We're still going to have that regardless of tariffs or not,
right?
Because, we'll find out a whole lot about this. We cross-reference the specs that we know now with what it actually is coming out. We can take a look at some of the videos that are out there. We can take a look and see, if the tariffs are in place, what the prices are. They may not be outrageous. It may be $100 more. Okay. Nobody knows. Okay. Nobody knows anything about
this. And then
this.
the second leg is we don't know if it will be shipped to the U.S. That's another leg we don't know.
Exactly. Okay. As we talked about last week with DHL and their ban over anything that's over $800. And so, again, and I read DJI had a response to that, and I saw it in my passings today, and I was going to put that up there. But what DJI said, we don't use just DHL. They also use FedEx and UPS as well too. So, and they don't have. There's nothing with FedEx or UPS on that.
But the last couple of drones I've received from DJI have come DHL though.
Right. I've been the same for me. But several I've had come from FedEx or UPS. So
yeah.
So it really
over the years, I've seen all three companies.
I've seen all three as well too.
Bill, just a little off target here, and I just want to make this real quick. I was on the official DJI store today, Bill, and I went to the refurb section. I was looking around. They have almost every drone model back to the tello in that refurb store. Not one of them was available from the U.S. Every single one's out of inventory. There was not one refurb drone in DJI that was available in the U.S. for shipping to the U.S.
That kind of makes sense.
That's a good sign.
Well, also too, and we had talked about before, and I want to bring this up before we get to our football talk, is there may be Mavic 4 Pros already over here. Okay. They may be sitting in warehouses over
there. Have been pictures, that you can't confirm showing them in stock here.
Right. And there was a mini unboxing.
I can't confirm that's true.
Which showed they opened up a brown box and you saw the Mavic 4 Pro in the box with the shrink wrap on it. Okay. That was the gist of that. It was like 10 seconds. I didn't even play it tonight, but I think there's a link out on Village here so you can take a look at that. But
that video, as soon as it starts, it's over.
Yeah, it's like boom, and then that's it. So
hey, good night, Lauren. Lauren's saying good night.
Hey, good night, Lauren. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I just, for me, the whole thing is this: sit back, enjoy it. I mean, it's another release. Enjoy that. Let's take it. Let's take this one step at a time. See how things go, and just go from there. As far as that's concerned, I mean, that's all. It's all we can do. All right. Because I know 99% of you are going to be like Ron and I, that if it's going to be this outrageous price, nobody's going to get it. All right. And maybe 2 or 3 days later, they rescind all this and prices go down to normal. Also, too, we don't know if these are already in the US. We have no idea, because if they're already here, there's no tariff on them. All right.
Well, but Bill, here's a little bit of a timeline. Okay, today's the 29th. The 6th is next Tuesday. So when we do this show next Tuesday night, we will know if the teaser is showing up or not.
Right. Right. We'll have that teaser available.
And then the following week will be the release date. So that show we've already done our release party, but we'll be back for a recap show.
Right. We'll be back for a recap on Tuesday night.
We're going to know a lot more in the next 2 Tuesdays.
Right. We will know much more about that. And, again, I can't emphasize enough to all of you out there, as I know, and this is for everybody. Okay. If you're considering this, just take a step back, watch. Okay. And then watch our show on that release date on the 13th, which will probably be around 8 in the morning. Is probably when DJI has been doing this. And we'll see what's going on, what's going on as far as tariffs are concerned and everything. We don't know. And we don't know what DJI's pricing is going to be. So this is going to be an adventure for all of us. So again, exhale on this, take a step back. We'll watch this. We'll see how it plays out. They, like I said, they may have, all these may be here already in the United States. They may have stock and inventory here. So we don't know. Question of the day. What did you think of DJI Mavic 4 Pro huge update? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.